The Nikon Coolpix L10 is a digicam made in 2007, and I had this one laying around my place, so I thought, let's take it to a lookout and see what kind of results I can get. So with that being said, welcome to Killer Entertainment, and this is Into the Lens. Alright, so we made it to the lookout. It's sprinkling a little bit. Obviously it's super cloudy, but I think that's in our favor because I wasn't really expecting this to have good dynamic range. So I'm hoping that there's a lot of clouds. It makes everything a lot softer, less harsh, and hopefully it benefits this camera with the photos we get. Okay, so the first issue I'm finding is it refuses to focus. I don't know why, but I'll still take the photo. Maybe it is in focus. I can't really tell because the screen is so small. And it's not a good quality screen. Like, what do you expect out of a really old point and shoot? Okay, so this is a different part of the lookout. I would rather more zoom on this to get this shot, but I'm gonna see what I can really get out of it, I guess. We'll start with a wide. It really seems to be struggling to focus. And I don't know if that's because these things are just so far away or if it's because it is pretty foggy right now. It's very soft. So maybe that's why it's struggling to focus. I have no idea. But it is struggling. I have no idea if these photos are going to be blurry or not. But hopefully they turn out at least decent. So it keeps on coming up with this notification after I take the photo, and it basically says picture is blurred, save picture ? It's basically just giving you the option, do you want to save it or do you want to try again? I'm always saving them just in case maybe the camera is making a mistake, because it doesn't look blurry to me on the screen. But you never know, like maybe I might bring it back on my computer and it might be fucked. But to me, these don't look blurry. If anything, the camera might be confusing the mist and the softness as a blurry photo. I think that's the case because it looks like it's sharp. It is nailing focus, I can see that, so I'm not too sure. Alright, so we are back now. It's been a few days since we went to the lookout and shot with this camera, and looking at the photos and editing them, I am not impressed with this camera. I have to keep reminding myself that it's an old, digicam. It's from 2007. Don't expect much, but I wouldn't say it's much the photos that disappointed me. The photos are actually pretty good. They're not bad photos, especially coming out of something like this. But it's more about the experience, if anything. Shooting with this camera that day, I had so many issues pop up, mainly to the shutter speed and the focusing. For some reason, that day it just refused to focus on anything, and the shutter speed is so slow that even if you did get something in focus, you're probably going to get motion blur because of how slow it was. So those two things basically ruined the experience for me. But the photos that we got are pretty good. I'm pretty happy with them. But it took me a good 5-10 minutes each photo because I was just standing there taking the same photo over and over again until I saw, okay, yeah, I finally got the shot. The screen isn't that good either. The screen is pretty shit. It's small, it's extremely low resolution. You can't really even tell if it's a blurry photo or a sharp photo. That's how bad this screen is. But other than that, it was good. Let's talk about my favorite photo, and it wasn't actually any of the the landscapes were pretty good, but my favorite photo is actually the one of the tree and the branches coming into the top right. That photo is actually really nice, mainly because that branch kind of guides your eye to the middle of the tree, and then you have the other branches kind of coming outwards. Yeah, I actually really love that shot, and that shot also took me a long time to take, but at least I got it. That was pretty good. The landscape from the main lookout point is actually pretty nice. I'm happy that it was cloudy because, again, like I said when we were shooting, I wasn't expecting this to have good dynamic range. And even though it was cloudy, it still had shit dynamic range. The whole sky was, not the whole sky, but a lot of the sky was blown out. And I basically just had to kind of give it this soft, grainy, sort of faded look to the sky. And it ended up looking good, but yeah, I was really surprised that even on a cloudy day, this was still having extremely bad dynamic range. Even in these photos, you can see in the corners and stuff, it's either motion blur or it's the lens on this is giving this sort of distortion to the corners. It's one or the other. I maybe it's both. I'm not too sure. Don't get this camera. Don't even bother searching this camera. But it is definitely good to finally have a camera that I didn't really have a good experience with. I feel like every single episode in this series, I've had a relatively good experience with all the cameras and I've had good results. So it's finally nice to have a little bit of a challenge out of a camera. But with that being said, make sure you like this video if you did indeed like it, subscribe if you want to see more, and I will see you in the next episode of Into the Lens.